Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar about NGI LEDGER, the human-centric venture builder program funded by the European Commission and the Horizon 2020. I am Thomas Chamyanira, and I'll be one of your hosts for today. You can see the other two are with me. And just briefly, NGI LEDGER made a difference for companies working in decentralized technologies, and it is for this reason that a third round of funding has been launched. Please note that this webinar is recorded and will be made available on the NGI YouTube channel for 5 years. And you're free to leave at any point during the webinar. At the right of your screen, there is a control panel, and we are inviting you to interact with us in the question box if you have any questions, and we will try to address your questions at the end of the webinar during the dedicated Q&A session. So basically, what is LEDGER to begin? The 6-month venture builder program by Fundingbox, technical mentoring by Dime.org, and business mentoring by Blue. The 5th point will be the application process, and at the end, the Q&A session. I'd like to present the other speakers for today. We have Thomas Wilczek from Fundingbox.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you. And we have Andrea Dintino from Dime.org.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody.
And then, of course, myself, Thomas Chamyanira from Blue. Going to the next slide. We're going to present the consortium briefly, and then we'll continue the webinar. So, Thomas, would you like to tell us about Fundingbox?
Yes, sure. So, hello again, everyone. We have some technical issues here. I don't see the slides. Oh, yeah, I see them now. Okay. Yeah, hello, everyone. So, Fundingbox, who is Fundingbox? We are a European non-profit organization with a team of 80 professionals now who operate out of 3 hubs in Europe, which is Poland, Denmark, and Spain. And well, our offering is twofold, I would say. On the one hand, we are now one of the largest European deep tech ecosystems, which is based on our funding platform for entrepreneurs, where we have over 30,000 members. And on that platform and in that ecosystem, any entrepreneur, startup, or SME can find funding opportunities, know-how, tech connections, peers, and tools to help them on their journey. The platform itself hosts a large amount of dedicated communities around deep tech topics like blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, IoT, and many more. So the LEDGER project itself, our project here, has also a community on that platform. And if you haven't done so yet, I would like to invite you to sign up for it. So you can stay up to date with the project and with the application process and be in touch with your peers about it. You can find the link on the LEDGER website and on the open call landing page. Back to Fundingbox quickly. So we participate in a large number and an important number of Horizon 2020 projects, just like this one, like LEDGER. And our role here is that of the project coordination, as you can see on the slide. We are, of course, supported by our experts, consortium partners, who will introduce themselves now in a moment. And to conclude, Fundingbox has a second offering, the twofold that I mentioned before, sort of closing the circle, so to speak, which is geared more towards investors and corporates. So what we do is we help them identify and integrate innovative startups or SMEs. And we do that by providing scouting, screening, and matchmaking services. That's Fundingbox.
Thank you, Thomas. Next is Andrea, who's going to tell us more about Dyn.org.
Yes, hi everybody. So Dyn.org is a non-profit foundation headquartered in Amsterdam. We are about 15 people, and we do mostly software development. The foundation exists since 2005. Our founder, Jaromil, is one of the very first people around that looked at blockchain technology. He made a large commit of code into Bitcoin in 2012. Since then, we have been researching about cryptography and blockchain in several Horizon 2020 projects, among them the flagship project Decode. And we have a quite large set of skills with people that mostly have senior experience in most fields of software development and embedded software development. And I will be coordinating together with Mia, that is also here in the program. We will be coordinating the technical management, the technical coordination, sorry.
Thank you, Andrea. And lastly, we have Blue Morpho. At Blue Morpho, we are the industrial disruption partner of leading companies working in deep tech, digital, and smart systems, with the goal to accelerate innovation. Another way of saying that is that we deliver disruption for our partners, and it is through this expertise that we help accelerate you during LEDGER. Through ecosystem designing, we work with large corporations, private investors, research organizations, startups, SMEs, and institutions to achieve disruptive innovation. The number totals to 70,000. On the screen, it's written 60,000, but in time, it's actually gone up. And in LEDGER, Blue Morpho will provide business mentoring, and we bring our network plus our experience conducting specific actions in decentralized technologies, but also our actions across different sectors to you in your company development. Additionally, we do fundraising and sustainability. That's something else that's important. Now, Thomas, could you tell us more about NGI LEDGER?
Sure. Okay, so what is LEDGER? A part of the three standout points that you see here about more specifically about the third open call, that I will come back to at a later stage of this webinar. Generally speaking, I would say we are an EU-funded project that supports human-centric research and innovation projects to develop minimal viable products and services, so MVPs, which aim to create new models to preserve citizens' control over their data. By that we mean models where data is a common good that is owned by the citizens, and where any wealth that is created by services or platforms with our data, the citizens' data, is then equally distributed and does not enrich only a few big tech giants, as it is happening now, as we all know. We are looking to support projects that have core values like privacy by design, then just decentralized data governance, trustworthiness, reliability, and openness. So one could say that we are doing something fairly new here, something different to the established Silicon Valley model, I would say, although of course we're using aspects of it when we implement the program. So the Venture Builder program itself functions sort of like an acceleration program, but our core values, I think, are quite different. So the core idea here is that we are trying to build a new internet, an internet where the citizens and the human beings are at the center. So as we have said in previous rounds, please, the ones that you apply, see yourselves as pioneers and as part of something bigger. In fact, as the name says it, NGI Ledger, we are part of the European Commission's NGI initiative, NGI for Next Generation Internet. Please, if you haven't checked it out yet, visit the website. I will post the URL later in the chat here. You will find plenty of interesting information and related projects, and we think it's important you know this by heart for your applications. So please check out NGI. And to summarize, our goal here is to ensure data sovereignty and to eliminate concentration of data by leveraging on decentralized technologies such as blockchain, distributed ledger technology, peer-to-peer, AI, and more. And you can do so in one of the 5 pre-selected verticals or an additional more generic category. Tanaka, if you want to go to the next slide. Here you can see the verticals. The 5 verticals are health, economy, mobility, public services, and energy and sustainability. And then we have sort of a generic category for everything else, which would be open innovation. Next slide, please. Okay, Tanaka, I hand over to you. You are at the
yes.
At the controls. You're at the controls of the platform.
Yes. What's going to happen now is that we have a question for you. We just presented the verticals to you, and we're going to ask you this question: which vertical are you considering applying for? So on your screen, you will see the 5 options. So all options except for open innovation. If you're planning on applying to open innovation, wait for the next question where we will ask about open innovation. Otherwise, answer the verticals that you see on the screen.
It's good to have a little bit of interactivity and to know who we are talking to, I guess.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a bit more time to vote because we don't have all the votes in so far. Okay, and we will close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. What we can actually do is share the results of the poll. I'm not sure if you can see that right now.
Yes.
It looks like sustainability is winning it this time. And then what I'll do next is I will launch the next question. So I'll do that, and I will launch the next question, which is, would your application fall under the open innovation category instead? Okay, and now we're closing the poll again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yes, basically for everyone that didn't reply in the first question, applied here, and unsurprisingly, they all said yes. Right, moving along. Back to Ledger. What do you stand to gain in Ledger? Could you tell us a bit more about what
yes.
our
Yeah, sure. That's me again, Thomas. Hello. So here we go back to the third open call, really. So the open call that is currently running, as I mentioned earlier, a bit more in detail. So if you know Ledger or have done some reading maybe before this, you will have noticed that the third round and last round is a bit different than the previous two. It's an advanced version that includes learnings of previous rounds. And I would point out 4 main differences. The funding provided, so the amount of funding, the number of beneficiaries, the duration, and the entry level. So with regards to the funding provided, of course, equity-free funding, as we know, is very attractive for any entity, any entrepreneur. And taking into account that the duration is shorter, the amount of maximum of 150,000 euros is equivalent, let's say, to the previous rounds. Number of beneficiaries, which is 9 projects at this time. All of them will receive up to 125,000 euros if they finalize the program, meeting all milestones and all deliverables that they have to meet. And then up to 4 top performers, the best performers of the program, will receive an additional prize of 25,000 euros, which would make them these 150,000 euros that you see here. The duration, we have compressed the program. It is now 6 months instead of 12, as previously thought. And the entry level is now higher, which I will explain in detail a bit later in this webinar. And of course, you will also be provided with access to premier class technology via our tech expert Stein. Andrea will tell you a bit more about this later. And yeah, and Dine will also provide you with technology mentoring. Then you have business mentoring by Blumorpho. Thomas will tell you a bit more about it, which also includes access to a pool of potential investors, early adopters, and last but not least, PR exposure for your project, which will be given by the 3 consortium partners, the project Ledger itself and its channels, and of course the wider NGI ecosystem. Next slide, please. So who can apply? This is, let me see. Yeah, this is the 6-month venture builder program. Quick look at just at the timeline. So as you can see here, we have 3 main stages that have different durations, and 4 milestones and associated funding installments, let's say. As in previous rounds, the funding of Ledger is in the modality of cascade funding. So the projects have to hit certain milestones and bring in certain deliverables that they have planned before and pointed out before. And once hitting those, they receive a part of the funding. Fundingbox, we are an expert in cascade funding. And as you can see here at the very end on month 6, with the final market proof and business plan, the project will identify the top performers, and those will get the extra prize of 25K that I've mentioned earlier. Anyway, you can find more information and more detailed information about the program and about the deliverables in the guide for applicants. There's also a frequently asked questions section, and you can find all this on the open call page or via the LEDGER project website. Next slide, please. Yeah, okay. I'm handing over to Dine so Andrea can explain us a little bit more about the technical mentoring activities Dine will perform.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. So the way we're running this is following. We have 2 people, so me and myself, who are the first point of contact for the teams. And then we have a line of expert people behind us that are there to help whenever needed. But generally speaking, the level of attention we require is that there will be a bi-weekly one-to-one meeting with all the teams, where basically we sit and discuss what's going on, and we try and figure out what the challenges are for each team. And based on that, we program the activities needed to support the teams, and those activities can be webinars, it can be one-to-one session with mentors or group session with mentors. So webinars so far in this round, I think we had 5. We have 4 more to go. The 5 that we have, they are available on our YouTube channel, on Dine.org YouTube channel. Okay, and then we have 1 hour bi-weekly all hands stand-up, where all the teams come and present what they've been doing in the last couple of weeks. They interact with each other, and they discuss possible ways to collaborate. Technical mentoring. So we have 10 planned. We have been so this list has been growing, and we removed some the topics that we found out that teams were not really interested in. We have done 2 webinars about the legal aspects. So one was GDPR and privacy regulation, and the other one was software licensing. Then we have done a webinar about user stories and wireframing for people who didn't have much experience with UX design. We have done a webinar about architecture and technology with focus on cryptography, and one specific topic about cryptography, which is one of our specialties. And the other ones we still have to do them in this round, and we'll repeat them in the next round. Next, please. Well, so I give the word back to Thomas from Lumorpho.
Yes, thank you. How kind. That was technical mentoring, and this is now business mentoring. So please note that when you're part of LEDGER, there are 2 separate aspects of the program. Obviously, we work together because the technology is what enables the business to happen. But on the business side, we work on completely different topics, and in the end, they contribute to the business as a whole. So regarding business mentoring, with Lumorpho uses the lean innovation approach, which in LEDGER will have teams interact with their ecosystems to learn from potential partners and to receive customer feedback. It is important to note the importance of customer feedback because our business mentors are not gurus and they cannot know everything. Through the lean innovation approach, we challenge your ideas and put you in contact with the right people, making a concrete business out of your MVP development, which obviously you're working on in parallel with Dine. On the business side of things, we realize that you belong to an ecosystem, and we work together to gain the most out of that ecosystem that you belong to. Remember, we showed the verticals on an earlier slide. But the verticals, just verticals, obviously you belong to an actual market segment, and that's what we're going to exploit and look at during the program. We do this by leveraging our network of more than 70,000 contacts that I showed to you earlier on, and this across 24 different verticals. all with the goal of boosting your visibility. The Blue Morpho team's combined experience and expertise is put to your benefit in this process. Our lean innovation approach leads to two major objectives. We define and validate your business model, working on a business case throughout the process, and we check your market feasibility. When you're able to show market traction and business value, the next step is collecting relevant financing, because obviously LEDGER is a project, it has a beginning and it has an end, and it's very important to also discuss what happens after, because you're set for more after the program. If there are two words that you should keep regarding business mentoring, they are agile and pragmatic, and that is the process of business mentoring that we present to you in today's webinar. Going on to the end of this webinar, we're going to tell you a bit more about the teams that can apply. It's a bit different to the first two open calls. If you followed the webinars for the first two open calls, perhaps, Thomas, you could tell us a bit more about who can apply?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, this is an advanced version of the program. So we are now looking for established entities with some business experience that have been registered for at least 8 months. So before the 22nd of June, counting back to the 22nd of February, which is the deadline of your applications. And these registered legal entities could be anything from an SME, so a small, medium-sized enterprise, a research organization, higher education entity like a university, an NGO, a foundation, an association. So we are looking for established entities. The teams should comprise at least 3 profiles. So they have to have 3 core members to be eligible for the program, which is a researcher, a developer, and a business development profile or entrepreneur, someone savvy in business. Projects should be, so entities should be legally established in an EU member state or in associated countries, and gender balanced teams are highly recommended. So we know women are still underrepresented in the tech space, and this is a program with strong European values, as mentioned before. So yeah, gender has an important role here as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so based on projects have to be based on research components, previous or current. They can be technological or socioeconomic, but should be based on topics like privacy by design or distributed data governance, and consist of development, test, and validation of technical economical viability of an MVP or service. What we are looking for is projects that bring to the table already existing product or service or component, that they want to build something on top or to extend. So we have put here the TRL actually as a guide for the higher entry level that we have mentioned. And also the project, again, as I said it explained before, should be aligned with the wider NGI vision. As I said earlier, we're doing something different here. Values are very important. And the results of those bottom-up projects should be compliant with open licenses, so open hardware, open software, and or Creative Commons. We will have further webinars until we get to the deadline of the open call, and we will address these things more in detail in the next webinars. Next slide, please. So the application process, just very quickly and in a very simplified way. Again, you can find more detail in the guide for applicants and in the frequently asked question documents on the open call page or on the website. And we will go further into detail in upcoming webinars. But in general, as you see here, the open call launched on the 22nd of December, and it will finalize on the 22nd of February at 6 p.m. in the evening. And you can present your projects, you can apply via our website on the platform. The projects that have been accepted and are eligible will then be evaluated by independent experts, and the best projects will be invited to a jury day. Shortly before the jury day, they should submit a video pitch of 3 minutes, and the jury will assess those videos and will then have an online Q&A session with the different finalists in order to make a selection. I won't go more into detail today. As mentioned, we have more webinars coming up where we will go a bit more into detail, explaining how the evaluation process is laid out, but I invite you to read the guide for applicants, where everything is explained, and it is something basic for if you want to do an application and write your proposal. You have all the information there, very much into depth. And of course, there's also an email that we will show later. There's the LEDGER community. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to get in touch anytime. We're here for you. Next.
I guess this is the time to announce that we have a date for you for the next webinar. It's next week, Wednesday, the 20th of January, 2021, of course. And the topic is more information about the verticals and more information about technical mentorship that you already know a little bit about, discussed earlier today, but we'll go into more details about that. This is, again, part of a 4-episode series of webinars, so there will be 2 other webinars after the 20th of January, and we'll keep you posted up to date regarding that. Regarding our communication channels, we are available on Twitter at LEDGER.eu. We have a website, www.ledgerproject.eu, and we invite you to join the LEDGER community on the link that you see on the screen. In case you have any questions or queries, there is an email address that you can contact us on. It is social@ledgerprojects.eu. I'll just leave the screen on for a few more seconds so you can take note of that email address.